When you think of big conflicts, you usually think of people fighting over not enough of something, right? Well, today we're going to flip that idea on its head. We're diving into this incredible story from Genesis where the problem isn't poverty, it's the exact opposite. It's about a family with too much success. So let's just chew on this for a second. What actually happens when your success becomes your biggest problem? It sounds kind of crazy, but that's exactly what we're going to explore through the story of Abram and his nephew, Lot. They're about to face this very dilemma head on. All right, so let's set the scene. Our story kicks off with Abram and Lot coming back from a trip to Egypt. And let me tell you, they didn't come back with a few souvenirs. They came back with an almost unimaginable amount of wealth. We're talking a real problem of plenty. And when I say a lot of wealth, I mean a staggering amount. The text literally says Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And his nephew Lot, he had his own massive collection of flocks, herds, and tents too. Their combined success was so huge, it started to put a strain on everything, including their relationship. And here's the thing. The problem wasn't some big family drama. Not at first anyway. It was just logistics. The land itself, the ground they were standing on, couldn't handle it. It couldn't support all of their animals. There just wasn't enough room to go around. So what happens next? Well, you guessed it, conflict. But what's really interesting is that it doesn't start between Abram and Lot themselves. Nope. It starts with their staff, their herdsmen. They're the ones on the front lines, fighting over grazing land and water. This very practical problem was quickly turning into a full-blown family crisis. Okay, so Abram sees this whole thing escalating, and he knows he has to step in. But what he does next is, well, it's pretty remarkable. He doesn't pull rank. He doesn't play the I'm the elder card. Instead, he just offers peace. He gets straight to the point. He tells Lot, hey, let's not fight. We're family. And then he makes this incredibly generous offer. He basically says, look, the whole land is right here in front of us. You choose. You want the left? It's yours. I'll go right. You want the right? Fine, I'll go left. He puts all the power in Lot's hands, even if it means he gets the short end of the stick. So just like that, everything, their whole future, their relationship, their individual paths, it's all on Lot now. His decision right here is the moment that changes everything. And what does Lot do? He looks up and his eyes land on the plain of Jordan. The text paints this picture of a place that's just perfect. It's lush, it's green, it's well-watered. It's described as being like the garden of the Lord. I mean, from a practical standpoint, this was a no-brainer. It was the winning lottery ticket. And that's the fork in the road. Lot takes the whole fertile plain for himself and heads east, pitching his tent near the city of Sodom. And Abram? Well, he's left with what's left over, the less desirable land of Canaan. The split is complete. But, and this is a huge but, there's a catch, a detail that changes the whole story. The people in that beautiful land near the city of Sodom are described as wicked and sinners exceedingly. So Lot made his choice based on what looked good on the surface, the green grass, the water, but he completely overlooked the moral rot just under the surface. Okay, so Lot's gone. The focus swings back to Abram, who's standing there in what looks like the leftover land. And it's right then, right after he made that selfless, generous move, that God speaks to him. And wow, what a moment. God makes this absolutely astounding promise to Abram. He basically says, lift up your eyes, look north, south, east, and west. All this land you see, the land you were just willing to give away to keep the peace, I'm giving it all to you. And not just to you, but to your descendants forever. That act of generosity was paid back in a way he could have never imagined. And it wasn't just about the land. God then gives him this incredible picture. He says his descendants will be like the dust of the earth. Think about that. Can you count the dust on the ground? No way. That's how numerous his family would be. So Abram wasn't just promised a piece of property, he was promised a legacy that was literally immeasurable. So what does Abram do after getting a promise like that? His response is actually pretty simple. It's an act of faith. He just moves his tent, he settles into the land he's been given, and right there, he builds an altar. It's his way of cementing his connection, not just to the place, but to the promise maker. And that brings us right back to where we started, with a question for you. Think about it. Lot saw what was right in front of his face, the green fields, the easy choice, immediate value. Abram, on the other hand, prioritized peace, and he got a promise that was completely unseen, something eternal. It really makes you think, doesn't it? When we're at a crossroads, what are we really looking at? The short-term win right in front of us, or something bigger?